The orb of the sun represented the whole universe. This was held up by gods and goddesses throughout the pagan world. In Egypt, it was the scarab beetle rolling its dung across the sand, and they worshipped it as God rolling the sun across the heavens. But as you see that globe, you realize it has cosmic significance. It represents the 666 God, the ruler of the zodiac. And there's Mary holding it in her hand. Jesus holding it in his hand. Baby Jesus, and here, one of the more beautiful statues of Jesus holding it in his hand. This is Catholicos, or Atlas, holding up the universe. This can be seen in pagan art everywhere you go, but this is a Catholic altar, holding up the universe, as on the tiara in the Vatican Treasury, or high above St. Peter's Basilica, the largest one in the world. Symbol that they are the 666 system. Another symbol of the sun can be seen in this primitive society in Central America. You see the sun, and beside it you see a triangle, a symbol of the sun. The ancient Irish pagans used to carve these triangles on their monolithic stones, symbol of the sun, or the American Indians with this terracotta coin. But as you go to Egypt, that triangle represented the sun god. In Greek, it represented the sun god as well, as you see this tetragrammaton, or the tetractys here. You see it on Roman graves, and here it is on the Rosicrucian Temple in San Jose, California. There's the official symbol of the Rosicrucian order. But this is in a Roman Catholic church. And it's an interesting thing that the Babylonian god Shamash equals 640, because the name of the name of God placed in the middle of this symbol of the sun adds up to 26. So everywhere they put that name of God in the Catholic Church over a symbol of the sun, you have the number 666 presented before you. There it is with the satanic pentagram. The eyes that stare at you from statues and from reliefs all over the world symbolize the eye of God, they believe, but it's the Om, the supernatural force. It's the eye of nature. And here on the capstone of the pyramid, I don't know how well you can see it there, but right in the center there's a circle with a dot in the middle representing the eye of Hathor in the triangle, and that's where this originated, the eye in the triangle. The eye was terrified the pagan world. Here it is on a Roman grave, someone so terrified of the eye, to protect himself in death, he carved a great big eye to say, "I am your servant, God," on his grave. The Masonic pin, with the eye in the middle of the triangle with a serpent with its tail and its mouth around it. And this Masonic Lodge? No. This is Santiago de Compostela, the third holiest chapel in the world, according to Roman Catholicism. And as you look up, you see a giant triangle with an eye glaring down at you. This one I saw in a confessional, and the priest saw me taking the picture, so he came over and he says, "Oh, what do you want?" It was in Italy. And so I told him I didn't know what to tell him. But I told him, "Look, it's just an interesting symbol," and I wanted to get it. And he said, "Oh, that's so nice. I just want to know." So you can get rattled sometimes, you know. But this is a Catholic pulpit, and you see the eye in the pyramid in the middle there, a Catholic youth group similar to the Pathfinders. And here you see two together, the one pointing up. The triangle pointing up represents male, the one pointing down female. In union, it represents the sexual force. And it's used in witchcraft to call up demonic forces through in theurgy. But all around that, you see the 36 decans of the zodiac, indicating that it represents a 666 God. This was designed by Aleister Crowley, and in the center of it you see the word soul, meaning the sun, and the number 6. This is in a Catholic church. This is a Rosicrucian order. This is a Jewish Kabbalistic symbol, and this is a Catholic altar. Catholic, 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 Catholic. And everywhere you go, the symbols of Satan staring at you are there. This is Mary, and on her shoulders, that satanic symbol. The 6 formed in the wax was formed by the bee. The bee, it had 6 legs, and they believed that the bee was a symbol of fertility. And since it made the 6-sided geometric shape, they worshiped that shape. And you'll see bees all over papal crests. You'll see it all the way through the churches on candlesticks and in the Vaticans, in the walls, and the carving, a symbol of the 666 God. The sacred pentagram, a symbol of Satan. used throughout the occult at the point of human sacrifices and carrying on the rites with witchcraft and the dead, can be found on Roman Catholic altars everywhere you go in the world. What's the difference? I don't see any difference. The ancient scallop shell was a symbol of the universe. It represented the sun god as it ruled the seas at night. Here it is on the head of Neptune. Here's Atlas holding it up as the universe, or on this Roman grave with a stairway to heaven as a great scallop shell. Venus being born from a symbol of sexual force, and here she is again, born from it. Everywhere you look in pagan idolatry, you see the scallop or the conch shell. Here's a Venus figure holding that scallop shell, and here's an angel in the Catholic Church holding it. And everywhere you go in the church, you'll see that. As you enter St. Peter's Basilica, there's Peter baptizing Jesus by sprinkling with a scallop shell. His brother is supposed to be symbolized, Santiago, symbolized by the conch shell, and that's him. But it looks far more like a Buddhist statue than anything else, and people were kissing the scallop shells all over his back. In St. Paul's Cathedral in London, as you go down to where they carry on the funerals and you look straight up, you'll see over the room a great scallop shell in the under part of the church. And there it is behind Jesus' head. That means that their God is the Antichrist. There's the official papal crest, a scallop shell, symbol of astrology. Here it is, a scallop shell equated with the sun at the Chiesa del Gesuit, the Church of the Jesuit in Rome. Anciently, they believed that the god, the sun, ruled in the seas as a great fish. In the legends of Babylon, that god was called Owains and came and gave civilization to mankind. But in India, it's Vishnu, and he's a fish god. Of course, in the Greek religion, Poseidon, and in Egypt, Isis takes the form of a fish when she's looking for her husband. But in this situation, this Wasserbecken, or this great water laver, was before an Assyrian temple. I want to show you the hieroglyphs on this. I need to change the carousels. And this is the Perga Museum in East Berlin. It was in a part of the museum we'd never seen before, just happened to be open that day. And this is the size of a swimming pool, but it was a laver, like in their sanctuary services. And on it are carved the priests all around it. They're wearing fish clothing, and they have fish's miters, according to Layard, on their heads. This fish's miters was worn in the land of Canaan by those who worship Dagon, or the sunfish god. This is the god Sybil of Asia Minor, and there's that fish miter on her head, definitely a symbol of the sun god. But these are Catholic priests. And even today, since the time of Babylon, that fish is still sticking up on top of that guy's head. And you know, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but these symbols are important to that church. She would rather give up the Bible and give up her traditions. Here we are again, back at our boundary stone, and the next symbol I want to point out is a three-high-horned crown, representing ruler of heaven, earth, and the underworld. This was the symbol of the rulership of ancient Nimrod, the sun god. It represents the 666 god, and here it is on Krishna's head in the Hindu religion, that when the Jews apostatized, this became their Yahweh. As you look up above, you'll see VW, VW. A W is two V's, and a V is the number 6. That's 666, 666. And as you look at their God, the Kabbalistic God of the apostate Jew, notice that it's part bull, part man, and part eagle. And one more. Part bull, part man, part eagle, and part lion. And on its head it has a tiara. That symbol means that the Pope is 666. It's more variably a symbol that he's the God of 666 than having vicarious filii Dei on his crown, just having the crown on his head. But this is the one they have down there in the treasury today. This is a sexual symbol. It represents the female womb. You'll find it throughout the world. In ancient Jericho, they found little rooms outside the main house where they had babies' heads lined around the base of the room, skulls, and in the center was this phallic symbol like this. But on the top of it, you see this crescent. It's a symbol of the womb of the female god of heaven. It's not the moon. The moon crescent is shaped in a different direction. This represents the womb. You'll see it everywhere in the fertility religions of the world. Luna, the Roman fertility goddess. Here it is, the birth of Mithra from the Zoroastrian religion. And this is one of the early goddesses of Babylon, Lethu, standing in a crescent. And this is the modern fertility goddess of Roman Catholicism, standing in a sexual symbol. Standing in a symbol of the womb. And here she is standing in the horns of a reindeer up in Scandinavia.